Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Everquest Old School. Now in this episode we're over in the greater Faydark area, hunting at the Orc Hill camp, and we're doing fairly good tonight. I've already gotten a couple of levels. You'll show you exactly how far along we are. We just leveled to level 5 not too long ago. Got our new spells, got a bubble and a half into this level already. So things are coming along pretty good. We got another bard on the way. Should be here pretty soon, I hope. So we got a good group going, and not too many, bad things have happened. I think we died once so far since we started, and that was just we pulled some of the orcs from Khazak-Thul, not Khazak-Thul, Crushbone. Why is it Khazak-Thul? That would be a great place to go to. A little bit too high for us right now. We'll have to go there someday, but for now we pulled them over from Crushbone. And they were a little too hard for us. As our puller got here, she had one bubble of life, which forced me to, of course, have to heal her right off the bat. And doing that caused aggro from the creatures to attack me. And things just went downhill from there. You guys can watch it on the last video if you guys really want to see how that played out. But it was pretty bad. It's going to happen at any level, but it's going to happen more often at these lower levels. Because people are learning their class. That's what these lower levels are really made for, is so that you can make those mistakes. Let's see, who's this? That's not the guy. You can make those mistakes, and it doesn't cost you too much. I mean, you still lose the same amount of percentage of experience, but to get that percentage of experience is a lot easier at this low level than it is at higher levels. So, you can take that from what you want, but I prefer to die now than later. So, make your mistakes now, learn from them. Definitely learn from them. If you're not learning from your mistakes, you're going to have a hard time finding groups later on, because people remember that. People know who the good healers are, they know who the mediocre ones are, and they know who the bad ones are. And they try not to be in groups with those people, because there's nothing worse than having somebody bad at their job in your group, because you can have the greatest tank, the greatest puller, the greatest healer, greatest DPSs, and then have just this guy or this person who's just so inept at their class that they just wipe everybody. Everybody gets killed every single time. He sends his pet off to do weird things. The girl that I used to play with, that was a mage, she had that issue. She never understood that her pet in a group was not the center of the world any longer. Like, she soloed for so long that the pet was literally everything to her. She had to keep that alive. She had to keep it buff. She had to take it everywhere with her. She couldn't grasp for the longest time that even in some groups, they would actually tell the mage to get rid of their pet. Like, just don't have it. Just become a wizard, basically. Use your direct damage spells and don't use your pet. And she always got mad, and she felt like people were picking on her and saying she wasn't good at her class and all this other stuff, and she really took things personally rather than try to learn from what they were asking you. Like, they're not picking on you per se, they're trying to get you to play the class the way they want you to play it, the way they need you to play it. So if, like I said before, if you don't want to be a healer and you don't want to sit down and heal people, then don't play a healing class, because that majority of the time is what you're going to do. Even druids and shamans who can do other things will majority of the time be the healer in their groups, because there's just not enough healers to go around. So I understand that's not what you intended to play the game as, but if that's what you are, then that's what you are, and just accept it, because at least you're in a group. So she would never group unless I got her into one, really, as my cleric, and I was always being asked to be in groups. And of course, if you tell them, hey, I got a mage who's a tow with me, me and her are basically a package deal, they accept it. They don't really have a choice, even if they have to kick somebody from the group so that the two of you can join together. That's what they're due, because otherwise it's just 5 people sitting around with nothing to do. They can't heal, and there's no point to it, so I would get her into a lot of groups, and in the early days she would complain quite a bit because she just never understood the things that came natural to me, because I had leveled up, from like level 3. I had been grouping the entire time, and that's why I can sympathize with you guys, because I went through it with her. It's just never considered some of the stuff she was going through and thinking, and you know, just really taking personal, because I didn't go through that. I never got used to soloing all by myself to the point where anything else was so different. And so my suggestion, my advice to you guys is, if you do join a group, first of all, be open to what they say. It doesn't mean you necessarily... Hold on a second. She has like almost no health. Let people know how much power I have. But yeah, be open to what they're saying to you. They're not criticizing you most of the time. Some of the times they will be, but for the most part, people aren't trying to be mean. They're trying to stay alive. They're trying to make you as efficient at your character as possible. I still can't heal her. Still can't do it. I need a little bit more power. So when they tell you that, hey, you're healing too much, you're healing too quickly, you're not healing enough, things of that sort, you know, take it as an opportunity to learn your character a little bit more than you know now. Great. I'm blind, which means they're probably attacking me and I can't see anything. And she might die now because I can't heal her. But, you know, some people take things very, very emotional. And I can't blame them, you know, if it's brand new to you guys and you're just learning and stuff like that. It's very easy to take things the wrong way. But like with her pet, anyways, she would often send it to attack and not understand the pathing in a zone. The pathing, for those of you who aren't familiar with that term, is the path that the creatures will take when they're running through a certain area. Like if you pull them to you, they run along a certain path that has been designated the way they need to run. There's, like, the programmers put like lines in the coding that say this is where you need to run when you're pulled, and some of those lines actually interfere with other lines of just other coding and stuff like that. So they will sometimes get caught up or go some weird route that they shouldn't go. And end up training and causing a lot of headaches to your group, because the pathing in that area is so weird, it's so wonky, that you just, it's not right, you know? And if you're not familiar with that, usually the only person who's really familiar with that is a tank. You know, he has to, because he's pulling. But if you have a pet, you also need to be familiar with that, because your pet's going to be following those same rules. Let's see if I can heal you. Nope, not enough. I'll let him know I'm only at 10%. Hopefully I can heal him pretty soon. I don't know what everybody's doing. There we go. Interrupted. So now I have to wait a little bit longer, because anytime you're interrupted, you actually use a small amount of power. Or somebody went leak dead. That's our other healer right there. So gonna be down on the healing power. You can see he went ahead and put on his, I guess it's a heal song. It looks like bigger one, but we'll have to wait and see how his health, if it starts to increase rather quickly. And if she doesn't come back pretty soon, and the other guy doesn't send me a tell, letting me know that he's close, I may just go ahead and invite some other people. But you can see how things will start to fall apart pretty easy. Okay. I guess it's because he's so overweight, he's just like, I'll give it to somebody rather than drop it. A lot of the times as a cleric, you'll be the rock that never really moves, so they will make you the looter, and you'll loot everything. You'll tell people when it's their turn to loot if there's like a rotation, and then at the end of the group, you'll split everything. You'll split the money that you've collected you'll split the items you've collected. Like Sebelis or Seb, you make a lot of like diamonds and different kinds of gems that you can sell for a pretty high price. And some groups will just give it to the healer because he has to use like paradots to cast his buffs. Of course, they get interrupted, fizzled, and interrupted for doing nothing. You know, when they really need it. But sometimes they just give it to the cleric. Other times they split it. And you'll just keep track of it all. And then, you know, divvy it up at the end of the group when somebody decides to leave and things of that sort. So that way they're not over encumbered during the entire fight. Just you. And there's been plenty of times where I was in groups where I didn't even really notice it, but all I ever did was stand up, cast spells, sit down, do that over and over again, to the point where like 5-6 hours later the group was ending and I would try to move and literally I couldn't move. I didn't have the strength to even take a step. My guy was so over encumbered, and I'd had to get one of them to cast like a strength buff on me just so that I could inch my way by crawling basically to the bank and, you know, getting the money changed out and things of that sort. So it can be pretty bad. And, you know, the tank is pretty good. He'll actually kill the creature like right at your feet, so you can just loot the body right where you're standing, or sit back down and you're good to go. But because he's a monk, he doesn't have that luxury of having that stuff on him, because it actually will lower like his AC and his agility and his dexterity and things of that sort, which will affect his ability to attack and take hits as well as he does. So I think that's why he gave me the little extra cash. Plus, you know, I don't really have that much money on this character as it is. 2 gold and 100 silver, so that's 10 gold. I think, yeah, because 10 silver is 1 gold, so that would be 10 gold, and 10 gold is 1 platinum, so I got about 1 platinum in gold. You can see they're selling these shoulder pads that you can get from the creatures inside Crushbone, and you need 2 of them to turn in at a time. He's selling those for 5 platinum apiece, so some pretty good money right there. Loot up some of these things. Haven't looted in a while. I guess she's probably not coming back from LD, Link Death. So if anybody else runs by, anybody's selling anything. Wow, that's not bad. 5 intelligence, 10 charisma, that's pretty nice. What's the macro to equip an item? I don't know a macro to equip. Let's go ahead and put some of our other spells on since we have the time. I'm the only healer here, so I'll go ahead. Ah, great, we're about to lose our tank. Basically, we have I think a druid and a bard left, and our bard is pretty much AFK the entire time he's joined. He's weaving in and out of his spells, you can see, but he hasn't really participated that much. It's just ridiculous. Let's see. Got two on the way. Okay, so I do got two on the way finally. Okay, well guys, I guess we're going to go ahead and end the video here until the group comes back, and I'll go ahead and cut and paste to get the people put together so that you guys don't have to watch the group being, you know, formed, because it's kind of boring. It does take a little bit of skill and a little bit of work to get everybody organized and stuff like that, but you guys don't need to watch that. If you guys want to see that, leave down in the comments that you want me to leave that kind of stuff in. If not, I'll just keep cutting it out from now on, because it is a little bit of work to talk to you guys why I try to get everybody together in one spot. So I'll go ahead and pause, and I'll see you guys. Hey guys, welcome back. So as you see, we got the full group going now. I got people together. It really isn't that hard. It just seems like most people don't want to take the time to do it, or they just don't feel comfortable doing it. Maybe they just haven't been in enough groups to know that they can put a group together themselves. You know, even if you're unfamiliar with the area, putting a group together does not necessarily mean you have to decide everything. That's not the way it works. You can put the group together and then leave it up to your group where to go. I've seen the strangest people put groups together. Usually people who can't find groups on their own will be the ones to do it. And, you know, they'll let people know right off the bat. They'll be like, hey, I'm not very familiar with the zone. Where do you guys want to go? And the people joining the group, you know, have more than enough experience with the area for the most part, and we'll say, let's go to this room, or let's go over to this zone, or let's do this and let's do that. So you don't necessarily have to be an expert on everything. You just have to take the time to put the group together and make sure at higher levels that you get the right mix of people. You can't just willy-nilly like I'm doing right now, or if 5 druids wanted to join me, I just, you know, 5 druids can join. It doesn't really matter that big of a deal. At later levels, you may have 3 or 4 druids looking for a group and nobody else. You can't have 3 druids in your group. You might be able to get away with 2. One for DPS and one for healing. But, you know, you just can't get away with 3, in my opinion. That would just be pushing it, because you still need a tank. And then you still need DPS, like a real DPSer, to do the majority of the damage, whether it's a Necro or a Wizard. You're going to need at least one of their classes, preferably 2, because then you can burn the creature down a lot quicker and need less. We could try Crush Bone. Kind of sounds a little negative how I said we could try if it isn't all camped, but it's the truth, because that zone is very camped most of the time. Sure everybody's coming with you. So let's see, who do we got over here? this guy, so I can't go running off looking for the other guy. Toss another heal on him. He should be good. He's almost dead. Yeah, they can handle that. I'll go back and grab the other guys. That's one. Okay, now I just gotta go back and grab this guy. There we go. Oh, got another pop. I had to take that one on first. And the problem with moving like this is, you know, instead of sitting down meditating like I should be, you know, we're running, so it's not exactly a good thing to have the healer be the main lead on a pull or a move like this, let the tank do it. But, you know, if he's not going to step up and do it because he's not comfortable, whatever the case is, then, you know, somebody who is willing to do that has to do so. You just go ahead and accept that you're going to get a little bit more downtime. Wait for everybody to get in here. I don't want anybody to get aggro at the last second like this and then leave them to die. Alright guys, come on, let's go in. Now, usually the tank, like I said before, will do this, but it's just as good with the healer because you can... He should have probably recast it and got his power back for his pet before he did that, but this way at least I can heal if somebody gets into trouble, whereas a tank, their only recourse basically is to taunt it off of the other guy, hope he can zone, and then him zone last so that there's nobody left there to get hit. So let's go ahead and come in here. Let's see, where are we going? I think we could handle the trainer camp, actually. Let's head on up. Already somebody there. That sucks. Try to go slow, let them all see where I am. Everybody moves at their own pace. We could do that. Just stay at the entrance. I'm gonna go get against a wall. I know nothing can sneak up on me. And there's really no benefit to hunting, you know, in the caves. There's no named over there per se that you're going to get loot off of. There is at the trainer camp, which is why somebody's already there. But if you can't be at a camp where there's names, then there's really no downside to just hunting trash mobs if you get good experience off of it, especially if you can get a lot of them. So. These guys are actually taking hits pretty good since I put those buffs on them. I don't know if it's maybe the buffs or if they've leveled up a few levels, but I don't seem to be healing anywhere near as much as I used to since I put this buff right here on everybody. Was it Courage? I thought it was something else. Holy Armor. That's what I put on everybody else. I'm guessing the other Cleric put it on me since I didn't have enough power to buff myself up. Usually, when buffing, the best way to keep an eye on the timers is to buff yourself first and then buff everybody else. And that way when it wears away on you, you know it's wearing away on them. I didn't do that because it was more important for them to have the buff than it was for me to use it. Plus, I didn't have the power to spare. Like it was. I think it's using like 15% mana per cast. So. I'm not going to keep track. I'm horrible with doing that, but some people are pretty good. They just they look up on their list up here where their group window is and say, okay, we're going to start with whoever's on the top, and the next person, the next person. They can keep track of it that way. Because a lot of the casters, you know, the people, especially clerics who sit down, and wizards and enchanters, things of that sort, pretty gotten to some out of rotation for rounds. But since they're not able to get up as much because they're too busy medding, they don't get to loot as much. You know, it's the people who are able to walk around a lot who can loot a lot. So rotation is really kind of nice. I'll just keep that to myself. I mean, I don't want to start any fights. If he really wants to be out of rotation, somebody else has already put one together, then that's fine. We can start. Hope I'm not stepping on their toes. He's tanking like a pro. She is. She's really the only one fooling. Wish I kind of had my paladin here or my shadow knight, but I really want to play my cleric, level him up a little bit. And it's just taking forever. Let's see. What's the experience like? Inventory. It's about half into the level already. That's not too terribly horrible. Great, we got the guys from the trainer camp stealing our stuff. Okay. Okay, I got one. That looks... What are they doing? Do they need help? Yeah, I think they are leaving. Slowly working their way out. And he's trying to solo it by running using his area effect. Because he's a bard. And that works really well at higher levels. That you can outrun it, do with bard speed, but you need a wide open area to get it and do it. Doesn't really look like it's working for him too well. He might be getting hit quite a bit. I'm gonna run up there and check real quick. So let's see how we do here. We don't have everybody with us yet, unfortunately. Who are we missing? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're missing McKean's. And he's down here all by himself, getting beaten. There we go. And you can see we could have sat there and killed it the slow way by ourselves, or we could just run it up here and kill it within a matter of seconds. So it's always better to just, you know, bring it to the group if it's not going to wipe the group, you know. Now we're meting up because this can be a pretty sticky situation. Sometimes you get more than you're hoping. And as you can see, they're a little bit higher level than the ones we were fighting earlier. We got yellows and blues, evens. And you can see right over there to the corner on the left, there's another one over there, and that's usually where the name spawns. We got 2, that's not too bad. Go ahead and keep an eye on her life. Go ahead and cast my heal spell. Normally I wouldn't heal this quickly, but because this fight can go bad so quickly, you know, if one of these guys decides to walk off because his life is real low to dying, and he walks off towards the camp instead of down this way, you know, we'll get all the ads. So if we can keep our guys full life, if something bad happens, we're ready. We're not in a bad situation where I got to heal right off the bat and get those other 4 ads that we just got on top of me, and then I die. So let's see, I'm about 70% experience, or not experience, but power. And of course, you can do 75, 80, 85, 90, you know, on your list if you really, really want to. I tend to think that 10% is just fine, especially until higher levels where maybe 5% really makes that big of a difference. At this low level, it doesn't. You see he's trying to do this little pause thing where he can actually set up a macro that takes time in between the different, you know, commands that he's telling it to do. So he does assist, then he waits 30 seconds, lets the pet attack, waits another couple seconds, and does a cast of his 3rd spell, whatever that is. Too close to that one. Now, because we have, like I said before, a good idea is to have more than one heal spell up. You need a small one, a medium one, and a big one. One of the good things of having the small ones is that if a caster gets hit, say a wizard or a necro, they don't have that many hit points compared to a tank, like a paladin or even a warrior. So a very, very small heal spell will actually heal them like 2 bubbles of life. And if you used your medium-sized one, it would just be a complete waste. So having different types of heal spells available to you to use on different people is something you're going to need to get accustomed to. Also, you need to figure out who in your group is a caster, who's a tank, who's a you know, a half in between, like a ranger or a rogue or things of that sort that can take hits somewhat decently and have a medium-sized amount of hit points, and then figure out how much the heals do on each individual person. You just get a feel for that after, you know, 10-15 minutes of being in there. This guy right here is where you see this orc standing. That is exactly where the trainer should spawn when he finally does. Now, I've been here on several characters in the last week and a half. I haven't actually seen him spawn since we've been back. Now, he does. I've heard people kill him in the past few days. It's just not something that we've got lucky enough to see. He's being very, very, very evasive for us and very shy. He doesn't seem to want to spawn, but hopefully maybe tonight we'll be able to get him on, you know, to spawn right here on camera. We'll also be able to show you some of the loot that he drops. Just make sure none of our guys die. They're doing pretty good all by themselves. It's probably time to buff up. In fact, I'll buff myself so I can keep a timer on it this time. Go ahead and heal her up. Toss another buff on her. Go ahead and put the courage on her as well. You can see that one memorizes a lot faster. As you get to higher levels, you'll memorize things faster than you were memorizing those at lower levels. And most of these people are probably thinking, just shut up already, they already know this, but sometimes you get people in the group that don't know, and earlier people were saying that they were new to the game, and they were asking questions, so I guess I got in this whole mode of just letting people know that they could do this or that, and hopefully it doesn't get on anybody's nerves too much, because I know that kind of does add up after a while, and people are just like, yes, yes, we get it already, so... The crickets, man, oh my god, they just came out a few minutes ago, and you can hear them like crazy. Oh, watch out, see somebody's using the train key. Let's see, what are they training down there? Just able to click on it. There we go, Lego Emissary. And you can see they stopped right there at the top of the screen. The emissary is just standing there. It's because whoever they were chasing zoned. And now they're a little confused. They're like, what are we doing here? Why are we standing here? A few seconds, see, they're going to start paving back. Some of them, it's kind of a slow jog. Others, it's a little walk. So you can see, like, everybody has their own way of getting back to their spawn point, which really causes havoc on pools. Like, if you really wanted to do, like, a chain pool, like right now, have somebody fatigue death and ready to pull one of those guys off, it'd be hard to pick the exact one you want when you can't guarantee if he's going to be jogging or walking. But it does take a little bit of skill. Oh, that guy's going to die. It looked like he used his lay of hands on his own life. I spy another train. Where is everybody? Well, we're going to go ahead and end the episode here, guys. If you like these episodes, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave comments below, or as always, you're welcome to hit me up in game. Thanks again for watching.